Vizient is proud to be a founding and platinum sustaining sponsor of the Bellwether Awards since 2008. As always, this year's recipients are an impressive group of industry professionals. On behalf of Vizient, I offer sincere congratulations to the 2020 Bellwether class. Jack R. Anderson, Doug Bowen, Gregory R. Bilo, Fred, aka Snappy University of Miami Dresser Krantz, Kathleen Garvin, Ed Go Army Harden, David Reed, and Rita L. White. Congratulations also to this year's Future Famers class, Hunter Chandler, Jack Casella, and Kenneth Scher. Finally, special recognition goes to the 2020 AMER honoree, Dr. Randy V. Bradley. Thank you, honorees, for being exemplary innovators and pioneers, leading the way, to say the least, in our uncharted waters that we're seeing during this incredible time. Thank you and congratulations.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Nick Gage. On behalf of the Bellwether League Board of Directors, I would like to welcome you to our 13th annual Bellwether celebration and our first ever Bellwether virtual event. Before we get started with our program, I would like to recognize and thank our Board of Directors. Jamie Kowalski, co-founder. Rick Barlow, co-founder and executive director. Nate Mickish, secretary. Deborah Templeton, treasurer. Karen Conway, Dee Donatelli, Ed Hiscock, and Nick Toscano. Please know that I am profoundly grateful to serve alongside such a wonderful team. No special thanks goes out to Rick Barlow, for without Rick's vision, persistence, and gentle reminders to the board, and may I add a tireless pursuit of perfection, tonight's celebration, as well as the lasting contribution of the Bellwether League's previous 12 years, simply would not happen. As we begin tonight's celebration, I am once again awestruck by the sheer power of goodness and inspiration each one of our awardees brings to us all tonight. In a year of an unprecedented medical crisis, our supply chain colleagues have displayed an unwavering commitment to secure, preserve, and sustain life-saving products and services unequaled in modern history. With all that has preceded us here tonight, all that we may be currently navigating today, and all that may be in front of us tomorrow, two words come to mind that I would like to offer as a centering point as we assemble to recognize all of our honorees tonight. Simply stated, purpose matters. So just how and why do these two words tie together the events for tonight? Well, if we recognize that purpose-driven leadership is when leaders pursue and are seen by others to be pursuing a worthy, valuable, and noble purpose connected to human progress and or the betterment of the world, then we begin to understand the why. Purpose is about the fundamental nature of an individual's desire to serve others first, all of which is fully displayed as a driving force in all of our honorees in attendance tonight. And as we have all experienced, the more worthwhile the endeavor, the more it elevates and can generate dedication, devotion, and hope. Above all, when leaders pursue their purpose in ways that are bigger than themselves, it creates a portal for others to share in the mission. It transforms into an open invitation to all, not just to join, but to bring with them an aligned set of values, expertise, and commitment, which in turn advances the efforts to levels not yet realized, or in many situations, not yet dreamed. The achievements that will be recognized as legacy contributions by our Bellwether honorees, or programs spearheaded by our aspiring young future famers, and our first Dean S. Amber Award for Supply Chain Excellence sets a beacon of light for us all here tonight and others to follow. Most importantly, they signify a community of trusted healthcare professionals making a difference in the lives of the patients, the families, and the communities that they serve. You see, each one of those we will recognize tonight embarked on a journey of personal discovery, fueled by an unyielding passion to serve others first, and through their efforts, demonstrated unwavering dedication to our profession. Our celebration tonight will serve as a fitting testament to the powerful efforts for all of our awardees, as each one of them, in their own unique way, have demonstrated the attributes of courage and innovation, clearly driven by a will to serve others first, once again shining a spotlight of contributions worthy of this distinction. Just like all of the past honorees, our 2020 class not only will leave an indelible footprint of supply chain contributions and influence, they will continue to motivate us all to advance our thinking and test our resolve to offer nothing less than the best of who we are as supply chain professionals. I would like to end my introduction by saying I'm a strong believer that when passion and purpose collide, greatness happens. Tonight's celebration is a shining example of such greatness. Tonight, we are honoring individuals who, be it early in their career or seasoned in their years of service, show us the very essence of what can be realized through hard work, determination, and a willingness to serve. It is truly an honor to serve as chairman of the Bellwether League. And on behalf of the Bellwether League Board of Directors, I would like to express our appreciation for your continued support and ask that you join me in recognizing the individuals in the spotlight here tonight for their passion to serve and their commitment to healthcare supply chain excellence. Now I'd like to hand over the microphone to Deb Templeton, Board Treasurer, to honor our future famers and Dean S. Amber Award.
Hi, my name is Deb Templeton, and I'm the Chief Administrative Officer of System Support Services for Geisinger Health in Danville, Pennsylvania. I'm here to introduce today the Future Famer honorees for the Bellwether League Class of 2020. Future Famers represent the supply chain professionals early in their careers, do not yet qualify for Bellwether status, but have contributed to the healthcare supply chain in a meaningful way. I'm sure especially this year they have been challenged more than we all could have ever imagined. Our first honoree is Hunter Chandler. Hunter is Director of Supply Chain Information Systems at Wake Forest Baptist Health in North Carolina. Hunter's background is in the retail industry and an MBA in finance. Both lead him to have a broader view about total cost. He has developed a novel toolkit to help provide insights and analysis of decisions around evaluation, purchase, and utilization of supplies. He also developed new processes around supply charging and documentation, dramatically augmented decision support for value analysis teams, and built tools that trend supply utilization over time. All of these activities have contributed to hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings and revenue enhancement for his organization. Please join me in congratulating Data Master Hunter Chandler. Our next honoree is Jack Casella. Jack is Director of Supply Chain Services at Froedtert Health in Wisconsin. Some of Jack's accomplishments include converting over 400 products in 6 months that achieved over $800,000 in savings, overhaul of the value analysis process, and driving EDI utilization from 45% to 85%, and applying GLN standards, allowing the vendor master file to go from 27,000 records to 3,000. Jack continues to lead initiatives and now oversees Frodert's informatics team, distribution center, courier services, and print services. Jack consistently has the highest staff engagement scores of all the supply chain leaders at Frodert. He is well known and respected for his character, ethics, poise, wisdom, and overall even-keeled temperament. Please join me in congratulating Jack Casella. And our final honoree is Kenneth Shearer, a senior vice president at Nexera, where he oversees practice leadership for Nexera's financial and operations improvement and clinical engagement services. He has worked and supported over 100 hospital supply chain cost reduction and operational improvement engagements. Kenny has been described as an expert at evaluating, defining solutions, and executing on implementation efforts for sustainable success. Kenny is an author and speaker, contributing to many healthcare supply chain events and publications. Kenny keeps a calm demeanor at all times, leading with empathy and urgency, and has been able to guide teams through many challenges, including the need for change management. And by the way, Kenny, best wishes from June Amora. So please join me in congratulating Kenny. I am now happy to introduce the honoree who will receive the Dean S. Ammer Award for Healthcare Supply Chain Performance Excellence. This represents noteworthy executives and professionals in the middle of their careers who, through innovative leadership and influential product management experience, best exemplify the practice and spirit of healthcare supply chain performance excellence. The first honoree of the new Dean S. Ammer Award for Healthcare Supply Chain Performance Excellence is Randy V. Bradley, PhD, Associate Professor of Supply Chain Management and Information Systems for the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Haslam College of Business, Department of Supply Chain Management. Bellwethers like Thorne, Farrell, Widman, and Ammer hail from non-healthcare backgrounds and applied industry concepts as Randy has, but Randy has added a twist. He is not from the manufacturing industry. He is from the information technology industry that is leading the 21st century. By linking technology to the healthcare supply chain, he is helping to push the industry into new phases of development and discovery. With his ability to educate and communicate to multiple age groups, he has become an influencer, helping to attract the next generation to supply chain, as well as fostering the current generation in new ways to move forward. Randy has an energy that is both addicting and attractive. He is an ordained minister, songwriter, and music performer. These talents contribute to his ability to spur creativity and vision in his audiences. Please join me in congratulating the energetic and visionary Randy Bradley.
I would like to thank the Bellwether League and the Bellwether League Board of Directors for bestowing upon me this year's Dean S. Ammer Award for Healthcare Supply Chain Performance Excellence. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the other honorees this year. In particular, I'd like to salute those of you going into the Bellwether League Hall of Fame. Your tireless, selfless efforts over the years have been recognized and greatly appreciated by us all. And I want you to know that we will continue to reap the fruits of your effort for many years to come. I'd also like to take this time to say thank you to my family, in particular my wife Valerie and my sons Judah and Caleb, who willingly give of themselves by enabling me to go forward, to mentor, to engage, to support, to encourage, and to have a positive impact on the healthcare supply chain profession. And without their sacrifices, I would not be able to do the things that have brought us to this point where you saw fit to recognize my efforts. When I left industry and went into academia, I did so with a specific purpose. I wanted to further bridge the gap between academia and industry. And I understood then, as well as I understand now, that in order to do that, it cannot be done well by staying within the walls and the halls of an academic institution. But it was going to require me to be willing to step out into industry, into the profession, where the boots are on the ground, and to take the theory and explain ways in which we can apply it for positive impact. I'm a strong advocate for the value of healthcare supply chain and healthcare supply chain professionals. I still believe to this day that in the supply chain, it is the heart and the seat of innovation. And there are so many untapped talents lying within many organizations that if we only saw fit to view it as a strategic imperative rather than as a commodity that is burdened with just continuing to reduce costs. And if we would change our focus and our perspective with respect to that, we then can truly secure what we've all been after, which is quality outcomes, lower cost of care, and improved access to care for all. I believe we can do this. I believe we should do this. And I believe we must do this. And if we stand together, hand in hand, arm in arm, we can continue to advance the healthcare supply chain profession. And no matter how fragile the supply network might be globally, what I have learned over the many years is that our healthcare supply chain professionals are determined and they are resilient. And together, we will make it through this pandemic. And I look forward to seeing us all on the other side of better days. Thank you again for this war.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie Kowalski, co-founder of the Bellwether League and first chairman of the board. And I'm a grizzled veteran supply chain professional. The following is a brief explanation of how high-performing supply chain leaders might become bellwethers. It's not a good old boys club. It's also one way for us to fulfill our commitment to making virtually all Bellwether does as transparent as possible. I'll try to do this very quickly. Bellwether League contacts industry professionals who know Hall of Fame level performers, deceased, retired, active, but near retirement. All are urged to think about who they know and convince them to submit applications of the best. The nominating committee uses qualitative and quantitative criteria developed over 13 years and refined every year, and applied to each candidate through a rubric to produce a score whereby the applicants may progress from candidates to nominees and possibly to bellwethers. The nominating committee completes both group discussions of the applicants, then individual scoring and ranking. They establish a recommended preliminary ballot of nominees for the full board of directors. The board then reviews the recommended ballot and produces a final ballot. Then the board completes as many as 3 rounds of silent voting for the final list of inductees. Got all that? Before moving on behalf of the Bellwether League board, bellwethers, and 100 plus Hall of Famers and many supply chain professionals in the industry, I'd like all of us to have a moment of silence for one particular bellwether inducted in 2012 who died this year. His name is George Hansen. The day of his induction turned out to be his 80th birthday. George proceeded to quickly win the respect for his accomplishments, as well as the hearts of everyone who was at that event, with what amounted to a stand-up comedy routine. George was a mentor to me and many others in the industry over his long career. He worked as a facility design engineer originally for American Sterilizer. He was a great friend. He is missed by many. Let's have that silence right now, please. Thank you for your attention. I bet you thought I was finished. Well, not quite. I have the honor of introducing the very first of our inductees tonight, and I'll share a bit of background information about him. If you want to find out more, you can find out about him as well as the other inductees tonight on the Bellwether website. When I first met Jack Anderson, it was in the early 1980s, and it was easy to recognize that he was really committed to bringing meaningful cost reduction and management operations improvements to the supply chains of the healthcare providers that the GPO he was working for in Southern California had as their members. And while it's been many years since then, Jack has retained his devotion to serving others. It could be said that his motivation and passion to serve literally percolates through his veins. To him, service is not an occupation. It's a lifestyle. It's a calling. He was one of the earliest adopters of supply chain innovations such as surgical case cart systems, automatic replenishment systems, and desktop delivery for office supplies. He developed and negotiated contracts for small, regional, and national GPOs. He found time to launch a supply chain professional association and then to manage his own consulting business. Jack consistently has kept the customer in the forefront of his mind's eye. And that is exactly where it should be. And that is why we honor him tonight. So please join me in congratulating this well-deserved inductee to the Bellwether class of 2020 for his contributions to advancing the art and science of healthcare supply chain, Mr. Jack Anderson.
I'm very pleased to be inducted into the Bellwether League. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you for the Board of Directors for this honor. I had two grandchildren graduate from high school this year. And when they learned that this induction ceremony was going to be remote, they said, just like us. And then they said, will there be a drive-by? I began my material management career at almost the very beginning, 1972. At that time, we in the profession were trying to define material management. My definition was that any product or equipment would be purchased through a central purchasing function and would be delivered by material management personnel to the end users, except for food and drugs. And being in healthcare, we found at least 4 different ways to spell material. Dick Perrin, Tom Hughes, myself, and some other people formed the Healthcare Material Management Society. It grew to over 1,400 members, and we had chapters throughout the country. We produced 2 or 3 educational events annually and gave Dean Ammer his voice in our profession. I learned about group purchasing and was intrigued and supportive. In the late 80s, we had more than 70 GPOs operating. All had different policies, procedures, and membership requirements, but had the same goal, to save money. We were pretty primitive. Remember 3-ring contract binders. The improvement of GPOs is a powerful tool for supply chain. We have 4 leading organizations with comprehensive and diverse programs that could only be imagined 25 years ago. In addition, ECRI and MD Byline provide additional tools that help us serve our customers and our health systems better. I've had a very diverse career. I directed supply chain at 2 hospitals and then led a group purchasing organization in California. I've consulted to several acute care GPOs and established a long-term care group purchasing organization for over 11,000 facilities. And my work in hospitals took me to 11 countries. It's been a great pleasure to serve so many diverse healthcare providers. But quoting from Premier's Insights, dated August 30th, we're living through some of the most challenging times we will know. And this week's events illustrate the stresses we are all experiencing, an ongoing toll of a deadly pandemic, massive unemployment and recession, schools unable to open their physical doors, protest over racial issues, a killer hurricane and raging fires, and 2 weeks of political positioning and partisan attacks. Recently, our supply chain has been badly damaged. Supply manufacturers are unable to meet demand. Offshore suppliers have not been a solution. Too little is manufactured close to home and not readily available. And providers have had to use gray market suppliers, spending 10 times or more the former cost for products. Distributors have not responded to shortages by locating alternative suppliers and had to allocate products at pre-COVID levels. Many distributors have not been able to supply certain items for 2 or 3 months or even longer. GPOs contracted with offshore suppliers that can't deliver. They entered into restrictive agreements with their members that discourage the use of secondary or tertiary suppliers. And lastly, those of us in healthcare systems were more focused on inventory turnover rather than pandemic safety stocks. We were more concerned about saving a few pennies on PPE products than assuring an available supply from this hemisphere. All of these supply chain entities perform miracles on many occasions over the past few months, but not enough for some of us. As we have done many times before, we will overcome these challenges with our partner manufacturers, distributors, and group purchasing organizations. We're a dedicated group of caring people who will develop systems and methods to overcome supply shortages in future pandemics. We will establish algorithms that treat PPE differently in our inventory rules that protect our fellow staff. We will collaborate with distributors and other health businesses to establish supply depots that will facilitate supply stock rotation. We will survive COVID-19 and learn valuable lessons. We will emerge as better supply chain people who cared and overcame most difficult challenges. Thank you. I am pleased to join you in the Bellwether League.
Good evening, I'm Nate Mickish. It is an honor to introduce Doug Bowen to the Bellwether Hall of Fame Class of 2020. Doug's list of accomplishments is quite long. He's led teams that are nationally recognized, he's widely respected by peers, suppliers, and the GPO community, as well as academia. But perhaps the most significant feature of his legacy is the people he's mentored and developed over the years. Doug has contributed to the success of no less than 5 current supply chain executives across the U.S. One such person, Ray Davis, VP of Supply Chain with UHS, says of Doug, he willingly shares his knowledge and his best practices with others in an effort to promote industry improvement. Another mentee, Derek Havens, VP of Supply Chain with Dignity and Bellwether Future Famer Class of 2017, says of Doug, as I reflect on my career and those of my peers across the nation, I find one common denominator, Doug Bowen. Doug's commitment to excellence, his financial acumen, his personal touch, and his mentorship will live with me and many others for the rest of our lives and careers. So it's my pleasure to congratulate Doug and to welcome him to the Class of 2020.
I am truly honored, humbled, and grateful to be part of the supply chain leaders, to be recognized by the Bellwether League. Leadership matters, and I am also grateful to the Bellwether League and its leadership for their efforts to promote and recognize the contributions of the many dedicated people that are working hard every day to make healthcare easier so that life can be better. Recognition can have a positive impact that can change someone's life and career. While in college, I took a job at a local hospital material management department, stocking supplies on shelves. One day, I was restocking the emergency room supply area when an emergency room physician flagged me down in a rush and asked me for a specific supply product. I was able to locate the product and place it in his hands within seconds. He looked me in the eye and said, "Strong work." From that moment on, I knew I could make a career by caring for the caregivers and filling the hands that heal. Mark Twain once said, "I can live for 2 months on a good compliment." Well, I have made an entire career from a good compliment 35 years ago. Throughout my career, I was fortunate to learn from some really great leaders: David Welch, Ed Jones, Jim Olson, and Michael Louviere from HCA, and then Peter Fine, Ron Bonnell, Dennis Dolan, and Dennis Laraway from Banner Health. I would also like to recognize and thank Dr. Gene Schneller at Arizona State University and Eric O'Daffer at Gartner. I would like to share with you 3 principles that have served me well throughout my career. The 3 principles are: 1, be data-driven; 2, be disciplined in cost controls; and 3, be results-oriented. By consistently focusing on these small and simple things every day, these principles will increase quality and reduce the cost of healthcare. Supply chain is a wonderful career because of its variety. Supply chain allows opportunities to increase your skills in leadership, management, business, analytics, people skills, and problem solving, just to name a few. It is very rewarding to solve a problem with a good solution. There are people that create problems, and there are people that solve problems. I have always wanted to be someone that solved problems. Given the lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020, and in an effort to help solve some of the supply chain problems, I would like to encourage the healthcare industry to pivot from global sourcing to local sourcing, from single use to extended use, and from disposables to reusables. One thing I have learned over the years is that leadership matters, and every supply chain team member deserves a great leader. Everything I have accomplished over the years has been through the teamwork of great people, and I have been fortunate to have some really great team members that have taught me so much over the years. I would like to recognize and thank the Banner Health Supply Chain Leadership Team for being the perfect team of great people. I have also learned that great strategies and great products and great data do not make a great supply chain. Great people make a great supply chain. Thank you very much for this recognition and this opportunity to share these thoughts with you.
Hi, I'm Karen Conway, Vice President of Healthcare Value at GHX. GHX is a gold-sustaining sponsor of the Bellwether League, and I'm proud to serve as a board member. It's with a great deal of pride, but also some sorrow, that I introduce our next inductee. We lost Greg Bilo too soon to cancer just over 2 years ago. Those of us who had the pleasure of working with Greg respected him for his tireless commitment to standard work and continuous quality improvement, for going to Gemba, where work is done, and bringing together multiple stakeholders to figure out not only what is best, but what is right to do. Those of us who knew Greg loved him for always being willing to lend a helping hand, to create a teachable moment, and for thanking others. I remember interviewing Greg for a graduate school project, and the first thing he did was thank one of his mentors. In fact, it was one of last year's Bellwether inductees, Larry Smith. Greg credits Larry with teaching him how to think not just about what has to be done, but what will make things better. Greg was a continual learner, and when he tried to teach others, he didn't tell them what to do. He gave them the knowledge and the tools so they could figure it out in their own unique way. Greg's colleagues describe him as someone who always took the blame if things went wrong and gave the credit to others when they went right. I, for one, will always try to emulate that leadership style. While he's missed by many, Greg left healthcare exactly the way he intended, better because of his contributions and poised for continual improvement. You can read more about Greg on the Bellwether website by clicking on his profile. Now, please join me in honoring Greg and welcoming his wife, Marianne, to the virtual podium. Marianne?
Thank you. I am so honored to accept this award on Greg's behalf. It's amazing to be here via video with members of the Bellwether League and award recipients past and present. I know without any doubt that Greg would be so proud to be a member of the Bellwether League class of 2020. Our daughter, Justine, and I are awed by all that Bellwether stands for. and we appreciate Greg's induction into the Supply Chain Hall of Fame for Healthcare. Thank you, Karen Conway, for nominating him and championing him. Thank you, Nick Gage and Rick Dana Barlow, and the Bellwether League for accepting Greg into this class of very talented colleagues. Acknowledgements would not be complete without thanking those who are members of Greg's work family at BD, Integra Life Sciences, and GS1 US. Greg would want me to mention all the team members through the years who came to the table, sometimes literally, with questions and answers, opened eyes and opened minds. And to his colleagues from BD, Bob Wurtzel and Larry Smith, Larry himself a member of the Bellwether class of 2019, and to Siobhan O'Bara at GS1 US, Greg would want to express deep appreciation for their time and talents, their interest in his endeavors, their support, and their leadership. I think those who worked with Greg or knew him as a teammate or as a mentor knew he was dedicated to improving healthcare supply chain. This beautiful award recognizes him for his work and his innovation. I am gratified by this honor, by the words that have been written and spoken about Greg, for his name being spoken and inscribed on this beautiful glass lighthouse. But what you may not find in the words of his profile or etched in glass, and what I would like you to know, is that every day Greg went to work with joy. He delighted in the challenge and the camaraderie of the work. He believed that he was part of something bigger, that he and all with whom he worked made a real difference in healthcare. He breathed healthcare supply chain, and I mean that. And thinking of breath as inhaling, as inspiring, it struck me that this work is what inspired Greg. He was a slow and steady kind of person. And there's a quote from Confucius that says, "It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop." Greg did not stop. But I want you to know that he believed you, his colleagues, would not stop either. He trusted in that. He trusted in the work. He trusted that it would continue. He was honored to be among you in life. You are honoring him now. And I am honored to accept this award for him. I thank the Bellwether League for this tremendous recognition and for the opportunity to speak today. Thank you.
How do you do, everyone? I'm Rick Barlow, Bellwether League co-founder and executive director. Imagine this scenario. 2 job prospects, 1 leadership position to fill. The easiest way to deal with this is to encourage competition between the 2, evaluate each candidate's performance, pick one, and dismiss or reassign the other. Or maybe just start with a clean slate. Does that represent true leadership? Or is that just management? What about bellwether thinking? Fred Kranz faced a scenario like this and chose to go in a different direction. Fred chose to work with each of them so that they complemented one another with their skills and expertise. Rather than one moving up and the other moving out, Fred felt that working together, they would move the entire organization forward. By the way, budget was not an issue here. Some might say that the easy way out would be to let one or both go. Others might find that decision extremely hard. Perhaps the hardest decision, though, is to mold and shape what and who you have. Ultimately, this could lead to the development of 2 professionals and of the organization as a whole. This is but one example of what makes Fred a bellwether. Many of you have read Fred's essays and reports in the pages of Healthcare Purchasing News and in Bellwether League's own Leaders and Luminaries publication. What makes his writing enlightening as well as entertaining are the yarns he spins and the personal tales he tells that reinforce an overarching theme and drive a key point home. Before I bring Fred to the screen, I'd like to share something I received from Fred's longtime friend and colleague, Dennis Orthman. Many of you know he was instrumental in the growth and development of SMI, Strategic Marketplace Initiative. Here's what Dennis wrote. Fred has been and continues to be a true outside-the-box thinker in our industry. While Fred has been an excellent practitioner in the healthcare supply chain throughout his career, I hope his true legacy within our industry is centered around Fred's lifetime focus, continued exploration, and ongoing quest for what we don't know. Throughout his career, Fred has used his unique personality to foster positive changes and continue his quest for knowledge. Fred solidifies real human relationships with people and stays connected with them for a lifetime, which is a rare situation nowadays as we migrate to a data-driven supply chain world. Fred has always been engaging his peers and colleagues in discussions about the next big thing in supply chain, some way we can do it better, faster, cheaper, etc. Fred's never-ending desire for learning, mentoring, and improving is something I have always admired, and I'm glad that he is being recognized for it. Fred has served his country and his industry with great distinction, and I'm so happy that he is recognized by Bellwether League. So are we, Dennis. Thanks. You can read all about Fred Kranz by visiting Bellwether League's website and clicking on Fred's profile. With that, I'd like to welcome Fred to the Bellwether class of 2020. Fred?
Hi there, this is Fred Kranz coming to you via video from my office in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. I'd like to start out today by mentioning something that Mark Twain once said when asked to speak at an upcoming event. He asked the sponsors, "How long do I have to speak and when is the event being given?" The sponsors queried back, "Why is that important, Mr. Twain?" He said, "Well, if you want me to speak for 2 hours, I can speak right now. But if you want me to speak for 4 minutes, it's going to take me 2 weeks to prepare." That's the way I felt since I was given the assignment to do my thanks in 4 minutes time to the folks who have nominated and inducted me into the Bellwether League. It just can't be done in 4 minutes. I know I'm going to slight someone. I don't mean to, but I will do my best to include the folks that I think are absolutely necessary. My first thanks goes out to the Bellwether League itself and its board and its members for inviting me in. It's an honor that I could never have expected, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, how much it means to me over my career. My career got started as a U.S. Navy hospital corpsman, where I served from 1965 to 69, and where I served 13 months in Vietnam as a medic, a field medical technician, a corpsman with the Marines. That really set the basis for a lot of the things that have taken place subsequently in my life. The place my career got started in private, not-for-profit healthcare was Baptist Hospital in Miami, where I was hired as a nursing assistant while I worked my way through the University of Miami. And I owe so much to the staff there, especially the nursing staff who took care of me, let me work whenever I needed to, and made it possible for me to get an education. After that, I started in management at Baptist and was introduced to the healthcare supply chain in 1973. Over the years, I've had many mentors. Rusty Slay, the controller at Baptist Hospital. Tom Kelly, a Bellwether League inductee who told me that having a specialty is more important than being a generalist, and that healthcare supply chain was a specialty in which you could be sure to have employment for a long career. Glenn Hall, my former boss, my lifelong friend, and a mentee at ECRI. Nick Gage and Ed Hiscock as well. I'd also like to thank the staff and coworkers that I've been fortunate enough to work with all my career. Nobody gets anything done by themselves. Nothing can be done without the input, the cooperation, the buy-in from the folks you work with. And one of the best people I've known at giving credit to people for what they've done is Bob Simpson. Bob always credited everybody for everything they did, and I'd like to do the same. You can't get done without the input of other people. In closing, as we look toward the future, I'd like to say this. Many folks have asked me how to network because I seem to know a lot of people. And it's true, I do know a lot of people, but I don't network. To me, networking is a transactional concept. You network to do something, to get something for yourself, to move your career forward. I make friends. And if you make friends and you work a long career, you're going to get far, far, farther ahead than if you make transactional connections for networking. In closing, in the words of Lawrence Peter Barra, of St. Louis, Missouri, I'd like to thank the Bellwether League for making this evening necessary. Thank you.
I'm pleased to introduce Kathleen Garvin into the ranks of the Bellwether class of 2020. Prior to her retirement, Kathy was the program manager for the Department of Defense and Veterans Administration data synchronization. Learning from previous Bellwethers, including Captain Terry Urgens, Sally Bird, John Clark, and Joe Pleasance, Kathy took on the challenge of moving from a legacy supply chain system to the launch of a 5-part modular-based system. She evangelized the use of data standards in the healthcare industry supply chain and promoted the use of universal product codes on medical surgical supplies. She tirelessly educated government agencies, including the FDA, on the advantages of standards adoption. Kathy envisioned a product data utility that would improve supply chain visibility and generate savings and efficiencies that data synchronization brought to other industries. Her efforts yielded over $100 million in savings. Kathy worked at a time where women were in the minority and very few were in leadership roles. Her challenge was compounded by the fact that she was working within an organizational structure that was more interested in preserving the status quo than driving change. Kathy was not meek and mild, and she paved the way for women to not only have a seat at the table, but an equal voice in the discussions. It's with thanks and gratitude from one female data standard zealot to another that I now welcome Kathy Garvin as a Bellwether.
Greetings from Philadelphia. Members of the Bellwether League Board, current and former Bellwether awardees, ladies and gentlemen, I am surprised as well as humbled to be selected as a Bellwether Award winner, joining the ranks of many supply chain superheroes who I have had the privilege to know and work with side by side, both at the Department of Defense as well as the commercial sector. This brief talk gives me an opportunity to highlight a number of remarkable individuals I have worked with over the years that helped me make my modest contribution to the medical supply chain. You may recognize their names as they were previous Bellwether League honorees. They include Navy Captain Terry Urgens, class of 2019, Sarah Bird, class of 2017, and John Clark, class of 2012. Without the understanding, mentoring, and encouragement of these talented people, I would not be accepting this award. They taught me that persistence and commitment were the secrets to realizing change, and that everyone is capable of contributing in a collaborative manner to an outcome. Supply chain is a team sport, with few, if any, superstars. But Terry, Sally, and John are my superstars, and about as good as you can get in our field. Terry Urgens has been called an intrapreneur in government, a remarkable man in every way. He stimulated my curiosity and encouraged me to constantly challenge the status quo as he did. He respected my ideas and provided me with new opportunities to challenge me and shine. Sally Bird showed me that a woman could successfully compete at the highest levels if she worked hard and was diligent. She was fearless in an environment where some men were not particularly gentle. John Clark was another innovator. His best ideas came from his knowledge and success in the depth and height of the medical supply chain business. At DoD, our practice included continuous improvement in a strategic direction, which was the fastest, surest way to achieve lasting change. Together, with the help of countless government and industry enablers, we took a simple idea and improved our industry, providing each product with a unique identifier so you can compare them. How simple can it get? Yet, how difficult to achieve. But achieve it we did, and today you can see how our modest contribution has transformed the way the Department of Defense provides over 1 million medical items at industry low prices through its medical supply chain. With the click of a computer mouse, defense medical customers are now presented with the optimum source of the specific item that meets their clinical needs at the lowest federal price available to them. Simple, convenient, cost-effective, continuously improved, and completely transparent. Today, the Defense Logistics Agency's medical supply chain is the poster child of logistics efficiency. It accounts for 18% of all DLA sales, with only 1.4% of the DLA workforce and less than 1% of the DLA static inventory. Last year, it provided $7.6 billion in sales while reducing material costs by $1 billion. And all based on one simple concept, a unique identifier for each unique medical product. I am proud to be a contributor to the medical supply chain, and I'm grateful to be a Bellwether honoree. To all those who helped me along the way and chose to honor me, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I never dreamed I'd be in the company of such respected and esteemed professionals.
It is truly my honor to recognize the next Bellwether inductee, Ed Harden. As I was preparing my thoughts on just how best to introduce Ed, I could, of course, highlighted his many accomplishments, the countless individuals he has touched through his illustrious career, and the visionary leadership Ed continues to exemplify today. Well, I thought it best to start by sharing a few insights from his colleagues that I believe best represents the essence of who Ed is and why Ed truly deserves the distinction of Bellwether honoree. One colleague wrote, "No matter what role Ed is playing, be it system leader, mentor, strategic business partner, loving husband, or devout Christian, you know he is fully and genuinely engaged. The depth of his caring and commitment is front and center, only to be enhanced by his smile and disarming sense of humor." In another letter of recommendation, a colleague shared, "Over the years, Ed has demonstrated to me the highest ethical and moral standards in how he conducts his business and personal life. He has deep faith, and it reflects in the way he treats people, always taking time to offer help in any way he can." I've been fortunate to work alongside of Ed for many years. And along with the qualities mentioned above, I believe Ed is also a guardian not only for the individuals who works for him, the organizations he has served throughout his career, but more importantly, Ed reveals to those that know him a societal responsibility, continually pushing himself to best represent the greater good in all of his actions. Ed's moral compass is unwavering, driven by a clarity of conscience and a willingness to speak up. Although the last year has been a long journey for Ed and his family, let tonight serve as a testament of what can be accomplished with faith, love, and a willingness to serve others first. Now, before we hear directly from Ed, allow me to share a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "The only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be." Ed, We are all grateful for the path you have chosen and thankful for the ongoing work you will continue to excel at. Please join me in celebrating Ed Harden, 2020 Bellwether inductee.
I want to thank the Bellwether Selection Committee and especially Nick Guyach for believing in me and recognizing me with this award. My provider colleagues from my time at ROI Mercy, Christus Health, Beaumont Health, and especially to Freighter Health. Thank you, past colleagues and current colleagues. I wouldn't be here tonight if it weren't for your support and your guidance all these years. And to my family, my parents, my siblings, my children, but especially to my best friend and wife, Julie, who I love dearly. And I just thank you so much, sweetheart, for all the support that you've given me, particularly in this last year when you and I have gone through a host of challenges. I have to say that I am so humbled by this award. Two of my mentors were previous inductees, Steve Gray and Vance Moore. And there's certainly many, many more who are far more deserving of this recognition than me. I look forward to one day being able to celebrate with the likes of Mark and Rand and Steve and Karen, who will no doubt be Hall of Fame inductees. In my 30 years, I spent about half of that in a consulting capacity and the other half working in the provider world. In the last 5 years, I've done some part-time lecture work in universities. And so I've had a pretty varied experience. I'm most proud of my efforts around advancing supplier-customer collaboration, promoting supplier diversity, and mentoring and developing our future leaders. To be sure, many of those who have won this award have been recognized for their execution, and they won the respect of their colleagues because they've gotten very good at something. Like the things that I'm most proud of, I've gotten very good at that over the years. But we have a lot of things that are very different about us. Our experiences are certainly different. Like an artist's color palette, they have served to paint this incredible picture. And so that palette for me has included my parents, a mom who has taught me kindness, a father who has planted the seeds of faith and the importance of being humble, a loving wife who's taught me about unconditional love, children who have far outstripped their father in terms of accomplishments, have taught me about the importance of investing in others. I've worked with some of the smartest people over the years. They have taught me a work ethic that is second to none, the importance of lifelong learning, and the need to aspire and to grow. In a rich church life that has provided a moral compass for me and a passion to serve others, not because it makes me feel good, but because God has called me to do that. I have been shaped and refined by so many, but lest I get to bragging, let me say that where I am, who I am, is much about my failures as it is about my successes. It is said that one learns in the valley of life as opposed to being on the mountaintop, and I'm certainly the poster child for that. But my hope is that the sum of my life here has been positive, not only to this world, to our industry, but those closest to me. I'd like to end this acceptance speech with a poem by one of my favorite poets, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Many of you, no doubt, have heard the poem Success, but I'd like to close with it in this speech. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a little better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded. Thank you all for this great recognition. And thank you, God, for bringing me here tonight We had a pretty challenging year, but because of you, because of my support network, I'm here this evening. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Conway, Vice President of Healthcare Value for GHX. GHX is a gold sustaining sponsor with the Bellwether League, and I'm proud to serve as a Bellwether board member. Our next honoree finds some humor and some irony in the fact that he was born on an island, spent much of his professional career in the landlocked state of Indiana, only to retire on an island. Along the way, Dave Reed has never been satisfied with the status quo. That rang true the very first time I met him. Dave and I were both attending the same conference, and Dave stood up to talk about the value of provider-supplier collaboration. That's when I knew I had to meet this guy. If Dave could travel back in time, he'd tell his younger self, don't listen to those who say it can't be done. Instead, lead through dreaming big, setting expectations, finding resources, and removing obstacles. Dave has always had an unwavering dedication to creating a better healthcare system simply by bringing parties together to work toward a common goal. He did that over the course of his professional career, which he proudly says began as a clinician. Then, whether he was leading sales, operations, corporate compliance, sponsoring industry initiatives such as the ARM Cost Quality Outcomes Movement, or mentoring the next generation of supply chain leaders at Indiana University, Dave has laid a solid foundation upon which we can all continue his good and noble work. With tonight's induction ceremony, we are honored to celebrate your legacy. You can read all about Dave on the Bellwether website. Just click on his profile. Please welcome Dave Reed to the Bellwether Class of 2020. Dave?
I would like to thank the Bellwether League's Board of Directors for this humbling honor and also congratulate my fellow honorees. Additionally, I want to thank my Heavenly Father and my wife of 43 years, Susan. When I look across this virtual room, I am truly amazed and excited to be in the company of some tremendous individuals who have impacted the healthcare supply chain in remarkable ways. Well, I would like to thank all of those who have played a key role in my journey. It would take longer than I have, but suffice to say that there have been countless individuals who have coached, mentored, corrected, and supported me during those years, and I am in debt to each and every one of them. As I think about those who are in their early or middle years of their supply chain journey, the future famers, and the Amir honoree, the healthcare supply chain needs individuals like you who continuously push what's possible. So while a lot has changed in healthcare, and certainly in the last 6 to 8 months, many things have not. The need to help patients and clinicians understand, diagnose, and treat disease continues. We have over time moved from the early days where the art of medicine was practiced by medical pioneers to the science of medicine today that uses the mountains of outcome data on patients to drive a more scientific approach to delivering care. The healthcare supply chain sits at this intersection where reality and possibility coalesce into realized potential. There have been 2 exceptional individuals in my life that have coached and mentored me, even when they didn't know it. First was my dad, who used to remind me from an early age that I could be anything I wanted to be. So why is that important to me? It's important because a young Army sergeant, my dad, in World War II, and his men were captured by the Germans just after the Normandy invasion. He spent 9 long months in a German prisoner of war camp and was freed, and spent another 8 months convalescing at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C. In his world, his sacrifice enabled me to be anything I wanted to be and to believe that anything was possible. He would remind me that my worst day was far better than his best day in captivity. So believing that all is possible, even when it looks challenging, should not stop us from pursuing the impossible. Second was Bill Cook, who reminded me that the field of medicine is complex, but our task is to take the complexity of medicine and find simple solutions that are effective towards the treatment of patients. The eloquence is that we take the complex and make it simple. I can't imagine how many times I have reminded myself and others that we need to take the complex and make it simple,
not the opposite of taking the simple and making it complex. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and that really applies to the healthcare supply chain. In closing, my challenge to the healthcare supply chain community is to do 4 things. Number 1, care deeply about all stakeholders and the patients we serve. Number 2, bend reality by pushing towards the impossible. Number 3, expect yourselves and your peers to do great things by supporting each other. And number 4, stay hungry and foolish, as people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dee Donatelli, a member of the board of Bellwether. Tonight I have the privilege of introducing our last Bellwether recipient. This is an interesting story. This individual started off in healthcare, left healthcare for another very lucrative position, and came back. I know a lot of people who have come from outside of industry, some of which have been successful, but that's a difficult leap to make. This individual capitalized on all of those experiences. Starting off as a distribution clerk, she worked her way through the supply chain management executive ranks, only to leave and lead a company successfully after 4 years to being sold. Upon which she made the decision to come back to healthcare, providing all of the excellence and experience that she ascertained as a result of being outside of the industry for a number of years. With a degree in technology, this individual has led her supply chain organization to receive some of the most prestigious awards in our industry, the least of which in 2019, Healthcare Supply Chain of the Year. It is absolutely my pleasure to introduce this evening our last recipient for Bellwether in 2020, and that is Rita White. Congratulations, Rita.
Henry Ford once said, "Impossible means you haven't found a solution yet." Hello, I'm Rita White. Throughout my career, I've seen our industry propel into a new age led by forward-thinking leaders around the world who embrace technology to forge a path for the future of healthcare supply chain. Challenges that would have been considered impossible to overcome only a few years ago are now resolvable, even trivial, as solutions leveraging new technology are developed and implemented. Imagine a supply chain world that incorporates the latest technology. You begin the day with a cup of coffee and your virtual assistant who automatically creates and prioritizes your to-do list, providing all the information at your fingertips regardless of your physical location. Although it's not a supply chain Alexa, we have created real-time virtual intelligence across supply chain with accessibility from anywhere in the world with an internet connection. By merging and modeling critical information from our partners such as vendors, distributors, Health Trust, Lawson, and Epic, and strategically applying tools like AutoCAD, Power BI, automated workflows, and coding languages, supply chain developed an infrastructure with drill-down capabilities that picks up where traditional software leaves off. Although it would take more time than we have today to review in detail, I would like to share a few exciting highlights with you. This intelligence was the keystone of the transition of purchasing and contracting teams into a work-at-home model, as well as provided complete system-wide oversight into the numerous operational procedures that were required to support COVID-19. On the purchasing side, the virtual assistant provides team members with a live interactive to-do list, along with the supporting information required to cross them off. Whether it's a capital project, a contract request, an IVAT initiative, a price paritative initiative, ERP requirement, or any other assignment, team members always know their current status and the next required steps. If the task did not progress as expected, or trend outside of established financial and quality parameters, managers are automatically alerted to review and assess. On the inventory side of the house, the virtual assistant offers real-time visibility into all the inventories across the IDN from one location. For example, management is automatically alerted of potential issues that may require intervention, such as par counting and replenishment falling behind schedule, empowering them to redirect productivity resources. Or when a stockout occurs, the system uses AutoCAD mapping to automatically pinpoint the nearest par with item availability. For productivity, the virtual organizer enables team members and management to self-monitor past and present productivity performance against objectives and goals in real time. This transparency provides operational insight throughout the department, recognizing high performance, identifying training opportunities, and supporting workload distribution. By establishing standardized operating procedures and utilizing virtual intelligence, we have ensured that our efforts are focused on the greatest value to the organization and support the best possible patient experience. While supply chains have made enormous strides in incorporating technology to better support clinical care, new advancements are being made every day, providing further opportunities for improvements. Though sometimes we feel like we have arrived, the truth is we have just begun. It has been an honor to speak with you today, and I would first like to thank the Bellwether League for its gracious recognition for giving me this opportunity. The Bellwether's League mission has been to recognize supply chain leaders who have made innovative contributions to their fields, and accomplishments of leaders always rest on those who support them. I have been fortunate throughout my career, and especially at Tower Health, to have the unwavering support and encouragement of the executive leadership team, which is vital to any leader who promotes positive change. I would like to thank my supply chain team for their continuous dedication to Tower Health, the community, and above all, the patient. We are determined to shatter the status quo and redefine the perception of impossibility. This humbling experience has caused me to reflect on my personal blessings that have influenced me. My parents have always been a strong and guiding presence, teaching my siblings and me that we could achieve anything we dreamed of, that we should always unite together and make the world a better place. We are all here for a purpose, and I am grateful for the opportunities God has given me to make the impact on healthcare supply chain. Thank you for your time today. I am excited to continue to work alongside my peers to continue to advance healthcare supply chain and provide innovative ways to support quality patient care.
On behalf of the Bellwether League Board of Directors, we are forever grateful to our sustaining sponsors. It is through their generous and ongoing support that we are able to recognize the true bellwethers of our industry, as well as our future famers, and to provide ongoing industry education and networking opportunities. Please join me in thanking the following sustaining sponsors. At the founding and platinum level, Health Trust, Intelair, Owens & Minor, Premier, Vi Healthcare, and Vizient. Our gold sponsors are AmerisourceBergen, GHX, Tract Manager, and Wingfoot Media. The 2020 silver sustaining sponsors are as follows: ASP Global, BD, Capstone Health Alliance, Crown Healthcare Laundry, GS1 US Healthcare, Healthcare Purchasing News, Healthcare Supply Chain Association, Henry Schein, Medline Industries, Omnicell, Resource Optimization and Innovation, and Steris Instrument Management Services. And please thank our bronze level sustaining sponsors: Allina Health, Atrium Health, Freightert Health, Geisinger Health, the Mayo Clinic, Northwestern Memorial Healthcare, Ochsner Health System, and Texas Health Resources. Once again, please give a wholehearted virtual thank you to the 2020 sustaining sponsors of the Bellwether League. While it was a difficult decision to move this year's event to completely virtual, we know as healthcare professionals that we made the right decision. Even though we could not all be together in person, we are very grateful to those sponsors who came forward to ensure that this year's event is truly worthy of this year's inductees. Please join me in thanking those organizations who came forward at the founding and platinum level to sponsor this year's event: Vizient and Owens & Minor. Our gold 2020 event sponsors are as follows: Tract Manager, Amerisource Bergen, and Wingfoot Media. Thank you to this year's silver event sponsor, Crown Laundry. Our corporate event sponsors for 2020 are St. Ange Company, Healthcare Industry Advisor, Healthcare Links, MedSpeed, and the Wetridge Group. And last but not least are this year's professional sponsors: Ted Allman, Bellwether Class of 2010, Dan Dryan, Bellwether Class of 2011, John Strong, Bellwether Class also of 2011, Delaware State Representative Ray Siegfried, Bellwether Class of 2012, William or Bill Donato, Bellwether Class of 2013, Dee Donatelli, Bellwether Class of 2015, Peggy Steyer, a member of the Bellwether Class of 2016, Jamie Kowalski, Bellwether Class 2017, James Oliver, also Bellwether Class of 2017, Amy Chiappa, a future famer in the Class of 2018, John Gaida, Bellwether Class of 2018, along with Mary Starr, Bellwether Class of 2018, June Amora, a future famer in the Class of 2019, Sarah Henderson, also a future famer in the Class of 2019, Vance Moore, Bellwether Class of 2019, Gene Sargent, a member of the Bellwether League Board of Directors from 2010 to 2015, and Karen Conway, a proud member of the Bellwether League Board of Directors, serving a term from 2018 to 2021. Thank you again to all of our sponsors. You have played a key role in making tonight's 2020 Bellwether virtual induction ceremony a success.
This segment of our program is designated to honor individuals that are handing over the reins as active board members. Tonight, we recognize the leadership of Ed Hiscock, trusted colleague and professional, gracious mentor to countless many, and on a personal note, extended family and confidant. Ed's endless drive and contributions to promote the vision of the Bellwether League started at the onset of his board term. In every one of our board discussions, Ed's gentle approach of reminding his fellow board members that authenticity, empathy, and compassion should be the guiding force in all of our decisions and actions. Ed's continual guidance centered our thinking, balanced our discussions, and elevated the standards for board responsibilities for years to come. Ed, please know your contributions have been many, and most importantly, will continue as a beacon for all who will now take the handoff for years to come. On behalf of the Bellwether Board of Directors, we would like to celebrate a trusted professional for all of your hard work and contributions. Ed, although your board term has come to an end, I know that you will continue to actively participate in future Bellwether League initiatives. And for that, I would like to thank you in advance for your commitment and your dedication, as I for sure will be tapping into your wisdom and guidance for years to come. Thank you, Ed Hiscock.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you to my fellow Bellwether board members. I've had a blast serving with you. It's been fun to collaborate, to work through the intensity that is the nomination process, the rigor that is the voting process, and in general, just share a passion for this industry and for the mission of the Bellwether League organization. Recognizing those that have given so much of themselves for our very noble profession is worthy work indeed. And it's been my pleasure to work with you and nominate potential inductees and candidates to rub elbows with the inductees, the Bellwethers from years past, at our educational events and our induction dinner event. And also I'm comforted with the talent that we've been privileged to get introduced to and spend time with as our future famers. So all around, been a wonderful experience. It's been my absolute pleasure. And you're not done with me, because I will continue to show up. I'll continue to serve in any way I can support this organization and its mission and you as a board members. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for watching this evening. We appreciate your participation and support, especially for this virtual event. All of us move forward together, even virtually. I'd like to close with a quote from explorer Sir Edmund Hillary that I find so appropriate for our group, because his attitude epitomizes bellwether thinking and servant leadership. This is what he says: "People do not decide to become extraordinary. They decide to accomplish extraordinary things." Those we honor tonight, and those we have honored for the last 13 years, not only accomplish and have accomplished extraordinary things, but they also motivate others to do the same. Once again, we salute the Future Famers Class of 2020, the Bellwether Class of 2020, and the 2020 honoree for the Dean S. Ammer Award for Healthcare Supply Chain Performance Excellence. We're proud to honor all 12 of these esteemed professionals and all 120 we have recognized since we began. We hope you enjoyed watching this evening's program as we shared our mission and vision with all of you. One of the phrases we hear about what we do is, "I didn't know that," or "I never knew that." We love to hear that because it's what we do to bring history forward and into clear focus as we salute supply chain excellence yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Please make a note on your calendar. Next year's Bellwether Induction event is scheduled for Monday, October 4th, 2021. We extend an invitation to all of you to nominate someone for the 2021 classes. The deadline is January 1st. You'll find the nomination forms on our website at bellwetherleague.org. Now, if you would like copies of our Leaders and Luminaries publication for a minimal donation, please contact Bellwether League headquarters via the website. And finally, thanks to your support, effective January 1st, Bellwether League is scheduled to transition to a 501c3 nonprofit organization from a 501c6 not-for-profit corporation. Stay tuned for more details about this new Bellwether League Foundation. We're excited about our ongoing progress and growth. Now enjoy the rest of your evening during National Healthcare Resource and Materials Management Week. Stay healthy and safe, and we look forward to seeing all of you next year. Good night.